Hi, and welcome to this video where we will be discussing about how to evaluate Class 2 amalgam restorations. Your goal could be to appear for Canadian equivalency exam like NDECC, for Australia, ADC Practical Examination, for UK, ORE, or any bench test, or you are a clinical dentist and you want to find out what are the reasons that you should communicate to the patient regarding if their amalgam restoration needs replacement. So that's all we are going to discuss about. Now, there are few things like marginal integrity, marginal discoloration, anatomy, secondary caries, tooth structure, and patient factors that all could be assessed in an evaluation or assessment where we can decide whether this patient requires replacement, and whether you have completed this task and want to assess yourself whether you did a good job, whether it would pass according to the Australian or Canadian standards. And that's all we are going. Hi, and welcome to this video. Now, what is a class 2 amalgam restoration? The definition is straightforward. Anytime posterior tooth is involved with cavity or caries that is around the proximal surface, adjacent to to the adjacent teeth, and that is a class 2 cavity. Now, the important part is that whenever that cavity is corrected and the lost tissue is replaced with amalgam, ensure that we do the necessary diligence to ensure the longevity of the restoration and prevent any secondary caries or secondary issues around that restoration. Our goal here is to identify any defects that could arise around the restoration on the surface of the restoration. We identify them, correct them, redo it, or we have to replace the filling itself, whether we find it in a typodont for our examination preparation or in an actual patient. Now, what is a class 2 amalgam restoration? The definition is straightforward. Anytime Now, the key evaluation criteria that are involved is how the restoration is adapted around the margins, which means whether the seal is intact or not, because that's where the penetration of food and oral fluids could occur. How does the restoration function? If the anatomic form is not correct, then probably it is just a hard structure that has been replaced, but we haven't paid attention to whether it's going to function when the patient starts to eat or the jaw starts to move. And that's why it is so important to ensure the contour and contact is accurate. How is the surface quality? Whether the restoration is smooth or not. This is going to dictate how much plaque the restoration is going to retain. Because if the surface quality is not good, it's not smooth, it's highly rough, it's going to attract so much plaque that layer upon layer will be built slowly, and the marginal seals and the restoration itself will be affected. Secondary caries is something you can see in the actual patient, but remember one thing: if the marginal seal is not intact, whether in a typodont or in a real patient, secondary caries could occur. And that's what the evaluators for your Australian or Canadian examinations will see, that you are leaving the restoration in such a state that secondary caries could arise, and they would fail you for not paying attention to that thing. Now, the key evaluation criteria that are involved is how the now when we are assessing the marginal adaptation, we use our explorer. Whether the explorer catches around the marginal seal of the restoration, and this is to detect any discrepancies, any voids, any gaps, any crevices around that junction. If they are detected, which means especially in amalgam, then it is a failure. When these ledges are identified, it is a good idea for your examination purpose to redo that restoration. And in a real patient also, you can suggest the patient that problems could arise in the future, or if the patient is already having sensitivity and all that stuff, then it would require replacement. Exposed dentine or base, it is a clear indication that there is significant breakdown, and this is something you will see in the real patient when a lot of amalgam has broken down, and you can see the yellow coloration that lies underneath of the dentine or white base that can be revealed once the broken part has chipped away, has been removed, and exposing the underlying dentine. Now, the goal here is to find out if there is any micro leakage, and that can be done by assessing the marginal adaptation. Now, when we are assessing the marginal adaptation, now when it comes to anatomic form and proximal contact, we have to ensure overhang does not occur. Now, overhang is a term generally used in a proximal area, but for simplicity purposes, just remember that any access material or access amalgam that extends beyond the margin of the cavity is overhang. When the proximal contact is not appropriate, that proximal contact could retain food, debris, and eventually the marginal seals could be affected, the gums could be inflamed. So, those things will affect the restoration and the oral health itself. It also affects occlusion, because when the tooth integrity is affected, you will find that food is impacted. There could be possibility of bone loss, and occlusion will be affected as well. Now, when it comes to anatomic form and proximal contact, we have, how about the surface quality and secondary caries? Now, when the surface is rough, we detect it by explorer, and we look for any pits, voids, or excessive roughness, as you can see in the zoomed in picture, or something like porous structure. Or if it is revealed, then we know that is going to retain a lot of plaque, so that would require correction. If the restoration itself is not shiny and the finish is not good, again, that is a sign that restoration could retain lots of plaque and debris and could be a potential source of problems in the future. In the real patient, you can visually and with the use of an instrument detect any new carious lesions adjacent to the restoration, especially around the margins. When your probe or explorer would find a catch and you can see some dark stains around that area, it is also a bit of indication that this requires further assessment, as there is likelihood of caries around this margin. So keep, how about the surface quality and secondary caries? Now, this in mind. Now, this is a USPHS RISE criteria. I don't want to go much into detail. You can look up for it on a search engine, but it is a criteria that has been used from such a long time, and based uh, on the research of a couple of dentists, and this criteria has been named after them. This is how the restorations are assessed in examinations, Canadian and Australian, not exactly, but the concept is same. Whether the restoration is ideal, perfect, then it would be excellent, or if it has some flaws, but it is still clinically acceptable, since it's not going to affect the restoration or longevity, so they would let you go away with those couple of flaws, so it becomes acceptable. Or there are one or multiple flaws that are so detrimental or so bad that restoration will not last for much and seriously requires replacement. So it will help you decide, or help evaluators decide, uh, how to grade you, or whether the restoration is not good enough at all in mind. Now this is a USPHS RISE criteria. Now the conclusion here is that when we uh, use this systemic approach, you will not just able to uh, evaluate your preparations for your exam preparation, but when you are working clinically, you will be able to assess patients restoration that have been done long in the past, and you will be able to convince them that why their amalgam restoration requires replacement. Because once you see some of these defects, you know that these restorations are not going to last for long and could be a potential problem in the future.